10th grade son, Derek, informed me that he no longer wanted to take AP classes because he wants to study music at Juilliard, and Juilliard doesn't consider AP. Well, kudos to my little boy for shooting high. Even so, I wanted him to keep his college options open, but he thought, why work that hard if I don't have to? So around and around we went on this issue. It was like debating a Kardashian on the benefits of a natural look. About the same time, I'd heard that legendary jazz trumpet player Wynton Marsalis was coming to town. Winner of 9 Grammy Awards and the first jazz musician to win the Pulitzer Prize for Music, Wynton Marsalis has played with rock and jazz greats ranging from Eric Clapton to Dizzy Gillespie to Herbie Hancock. Today, he leads the Lincoln Center Jazz Band, and he's considered the greatest living jazz trumpet player. Needless to say, he's one of my son's all-time heroes, so I quickly bought tickets. I also asked my friend Mark Eaton if he were going to the concert. Mark, being the former starting center for the Utah Jazz, had met Wynton years before, right after Mark had just started with the NBA. Mark loved jazz, Wynton loved basketball, and the two of them formed a friendship over that has since lasted a lifetime. So yes, Mark was going to the concert, but he was sitting backstage. To say my son loved seeing Wynton Marsalis and the Lincoln Center Jazz Band play live in Salt Lake is as understated as saying, Twitter, it's just a new form of smoke signal. The concert was perfection, an absolute essay in musical finesse. Afterward, Mark texted me and said, would you and Derek like to come backstage to meet Wynton Marsalis? And within 5 minutes, I got to witness my son shaking hands with one of the biggest musical influences of his young life. And then, Wynton Marsalis invited the 3 of us to join him at a post-concert reception. I'm not sure, but I think my son almost fainted. At the reception, I was struck by how approachable Wynton and his bandmates were. There were several college music students there with their teachers, and to his credit, Wynton spent more time talking shop with the kids than he did with any adult who was there to schmooze. In fact, at one point he even said, hey, did anyone bring their instruments so we could jam? Could you imagine? Derek had not brought his horn. Why would he? We never dreamed the night would end up this way. But I vowed then and there never to leave the house again without first throwing a tenor sax into the trunk of the car. You know, in case we ran into Chuck Mangione at the grocery store. About an hour into this surreal experience, Derek comes running up to me and he says, Mom, I have a great idea. I'm going to ask Mr. Marsalis if he thinks I need to take all those AP classes. And if he says I don't, can I quit the AP track altogether? Interesting. I looked over at Wynton Marsalis, who was deep in conversation with a group of students. Here was a man who is consistently ranked one of the top 10 jazz trumpet players of all time. I doubt he got that way by taking AP Physics. Still, there was something about his sincerity when he spoke with students that made me believe he took his role as a mentor seriously. I looked at my son. Fine. But if he agrees with me, then it's AP all the way. Deal? Derek confidently walked over to Wynton Marsalis like a game show contestant who had all the answers. Even though I couldn't hear what they were saying, Derek conversed in an animated manner, using his hands to punctuate his thoughts, while Wynton listened intently and nodded. After about 20 minutes of this, Derek smiled and shook Wynton's hand and walked away. I quickly ran over there and said, well, what'd he say? Academics or music? He said I had to do both. Yes, I am smarter. I'm always right. You're always wrong. Actually, I didn't say any of that. Instead, I put on a sympathetic face and asked, did he say why? Yeah, he told me this story about a group of knights who were supposed to save a damsel in distress. All the knights tried to figure out the quickest, easiest way, except for one. He simply went after the damsel, taking on the challenges as they came, and in the end, he's the one that succeeded. Wow, I said. I wish I was as smart as Wynton Marsalis. My son grinned at me. Maybe someday you will be. I have no doubt that day will come, but probably not until Derek is staring down middle age and has kids of his own. Until then, he has this magical night when two legends of jazz, one a basketball player and the other a trumpet player, made him see that striving to become the best saxophone player in the world is great, but doing that and preparing yourself for whatever life throws at you is even better. I also will never forget that night because it's the first time I put my faith in someone I just met to help me make my son realize there are no shortcuts in life. Ironically, it was step one on my path of learning to let go. Not because I want to, but because I have to. Fortunately, in this case it worked out. Because when I went this round with my teenage son, Wynton Marsalis had my back. How cool.